Okay, so the track layout is, the main line is 6 tracks. We've got our office is here, just by where it says Shunt Neck, so we're sat here at the present time. The big, it's not on there, but the big warehouse directly opposite us sort of sits in the middle of here, and then there's the main lines. That end is London and Country, this end. The crossover that we're going to relay is on the viaduct there, marked up in yellow. It's purely in the slow lines. Our work site for Christmas is Post, which is down at West Hampstead End, and 7 3/4, which is just north of Hendon Station. So at the end of the possession, the crossover doesn't come into use, so it'll be flipped and scotched out of use, padlocked and so on, and we keep the 3050 TSR we put on this weekend, stays on until week 42 when we do the final tank. I think there's a photo of the site coming up, there we go. So both those photos are looking south towards London. The bottom photo is, wrong button. Bottom photo is basically, this is the crossover that we're going to relay. As you can see, this is the viaduct wall. So it's pretty much wholly sits on the viaduct. There's rails missing out of it at the moment. It's out of use, so you can't get machines across the crossover as it is now. So these are the 2 slow lines. Then we've got 10 foot away, so 10 foot space across there, 2 fast lines, and the other side of those are the 2 Hendon lines. At Christmas it's an all lines block, so there'll be nothing running at all. So there's no ALO issues, anything like that. There is actually a wrap and an access on the Hendon lines just there behind this, I think it's PC World, the other side of the railway. We're not intending using that, so there's no need to be over there really. I know the S&T have got a bit of work in these location cabinets here, but P-way wise there's no work over there. Just looking at the top photo, we were supposed to be relaying the crossover and this turnout at Christmas, but due to time restraints that's been cut back a bit, so we won't be doing the turnout now. That's that warehouse I mentioned. Next to us, our office is at the back of that. These are the sidings for stabling FCC trains. 6 1/4 mile post is there on the site. So the limits of relay, just north end of us, are just about a length back behind where I'm standing taking the photo. And to the south, it's pretty much here on the down slope. This is new track, it's fast clip, so we haven't got to go very far into that. And on the upslope, you can't quite see it here, just here is the toe of the points of the crossover coming across. We'll be taking this panel out here, and the last panel that we'll actually take out, southernmost panel, we'll be cutting just behind the heels of the switches here, and taking this switch panel out. So I'm replacing it with a plain line panel. So that'll play line the switches. We can't actually get machines very easily. This line here goes off to our wrap. This has changed a little bit now. There was a big wood pile there and we've de-vegged it quite a bit, but this line here does in fact come right the way across and eventually goes into that warehouse there, and we've got a wrap on it just down there. Main machine access for Christmas is, well, for excavation plant is going to be Hendon. You'll see why when we move on a little bit, but we are having some stuff brought in at this access which can come down here. It gets a little bit difficult to get on the track because the crossing's missing there, so there's no crossing there, so you can't actually get across that bit. So moving on, so when we start up we're taking possession around the 3 trains that we've got. 3 trains. The first train is on there is train 1, which are basically the Kirov cranes. We're using 2 Kirov 250 cranes to do the job, with their associated support wagons. So an engine brings those from Wellingborough, and that will come in. I'm hoping to get this, hasn't actually been sorted, but hoping to get it to come prior to the last train, so it'll already be here. Hang on, what's wrong with that? Sat on the up goods there. So that's the cranes. The other 2 trains are the Lafarge train, which is the ballast train, bottom and top ballast. I don't know if anybody's seen that. It's going to be, I think it's 20. It's going to be 20 now. 20 hoppers. They've got a conveyor underneath them, and a discharge chute at both. They're putting 2 on it, so there's discharge chutes at both ends, and that just conveyor drops the ballast into the job for us. So that's the Lafarge train. Take possession around that, actually at Cricklewood station in the platforms, the signal there. And this train here is our spoil train. We take possession of that around signal WH26, which is the signal gantry right on the job, so that train will be there. So that the Lafarge train and the spoil train will be alongside us on the fast lines, and the cranes will come in and be on the goods line and the sidings. The salmon wagons with all the new track on them should already be in Cricklewood sidings on that line there, which is called the specials and spares. They're currently out of use. That will be clipped out of use, or those wagons will be sort of locked in that siding because the points will be clipped so that nobody else can use it. 2 tampers will be stabled in the little tamper siding behind the signal box, and a little picture of some RRBs there ready to go on.
Sorry,
let's just go look back. Yeah, go on then.
Just for everyone, the ES, Mallow doing all the protection, would present, right? The ES and NOM are going to be situated closer to site, not this site office here. Yeah, everyone will sign in at the SAC around. It's just around here where the timber pile was. We've now cleared all of that. There'll be an ES cabin, NOM and SAC all sat there next to each other, right? So parking wise, there's a car park here, the space is here, but majority of the staff here will probably park here, management, etc. But guys that are coming on just for the job, there'll be a car park area designated in this area, which is further down this road and go around, okay?
Have they got their own special permits to park there or anything like that?
There are, yeah. If you're parking at Christmas, you need to Roma or email point of contact for your line management to say you need a permit, and then Terry, you need to just forward that on to Roma, and she'll put your names down with the registration numbers. Okay. Any other questions on possession management, anything like that? I don't know if you're going to get onto the Hendons probably in a minute.
Yeah. So yes, everybody comes here to sign in. Essentially, the way it's likely to pan out is that we won't get isolation until 3 o'clock in the morning. So at that point, obviously all the cranes get their Form Cs. Round at Hendon are going to be the 3 bugs for the excavation and a dozer. And there's going to be a dozer here at Cricklewood and 2 heavy lift Giga railers dealing with the scrap panels.
Will we have transport from here to Hendon?
Yes, there is transport laid on.
Yeah.
So obviously start here when we get isolation, go round to Hendon. Whether somebody fitter or somebody goes round there first, starts the machines up, get them warmed up and so on. But certainly cranes need to be here
The driver's got to sign on here presumably before they go around there anyway.
Yes, yeah. It's got to come here first, and then you can go up there afterwards.
That 3 or from midnight onwards till 3 till we're waiting for everything to set up. Obviously, there's no reason why we can't do soups in particular, Saj. You know, all your soups under you on that first shift. Obviously, we'll have all the paperwork in terms of task briefs and everything, and they'll cascade that down to the gangs, etc., and do the briefs. In terms of machine controllers, your packs will be there ready. Obviously, we'll brief that later on with Gary. Permits, etc. All paper will be ready by 3. We'll be just waiting on isolation, and everyone should be inducted hopefully by then as well, if anyone is left.
Where is the induction going to be done? Here or
It'll be done in here. Induction.
suck?
SAC is all going to be down on site. Anyone needing inducting, it'll be the duty manager, myself, or someone, a manager from Carillion that would do the inductions. But there's no reason prior we cannot, you know, we should be able to get a majority of our staff, 90% of them inducted, including subcon, you know, in terms of plant operators, etc.
Is there any prep work what we can do while we're waiting to get possession? As such?
I leave it to Sarge and the supervisors to ensure, you know, it's up to you, you know, to make sure that obviously lights,
Yeah.
etc. Torrent on the first shift. John, you've got guys there
Yeah.
to do the lights, etc. Obviously, when they get possession of the lines, they can start putting out the lights.
You're erecting the fencing, we're hooking the lights over
Yeah.
the top.
You're going to have to wait for isolation to raise tower lights, things like that. You know, so we need the Form C at 3 o'clock before we start putting tower lights up. There's a combi fence that's going to go on the viaduct, which civils guys are going to put up.
Yeah.
They've already put the brackets for the wall there, just need to slot on the poles again. They'll be waiting on the Form C before they land and do that.
So we can't start the fence and lighting until you've got the
Form C, John.
Yeah.
You need to brief the guys that definitely. They can run it out, but actually hooking it on and doing all that, anything above head height cannot happen until the Form C has been issued. No activity.
Yeah, Hendon is the 7 mile post is in the platform at Hendon, so it's a little under 3/4 of a mile from Hendon down to the site. It's quite a good wrap at Hendon, very good wrap. I don't know if you've used it, but parking's a little difficult, but the wrap's okay there. So the first thing we do well, obviously get on track. Once we've got the work site, we start cutting timbers is one of the main things PWA lads can be doing. We've already cut half of the long timbers, we've got the remainder to cut. No, sorry, I'm talking rubbish, we've done that week 38, we've already cut half, they should all be done. Yeah, but we can start getting burners on and things like that. We've got it. There is a decision point, isn't there, if we're likely to be getting possession late, we obviously just hold back on cutting the rails, because once we start that then
The latest we can make the first cut of anything on rail is 6 o'clock on the programme.
If
Okay?
it runs after 6 o'clock,
I'm on the first shift, I'll go make a decision
You'll
with
make
Dale
a
Corral on what we cut and if we cut.
Yeah, so the first, one of the biggest jobs to start getting on with is getting the cranes organised. That'll generally be the duties of the ES and perhaps one of our supervisors. I'm not sure who's actually on the first shift supervising.
Supervisor wise Mark Hughes, is that right? Saj?
Yeah. Steve.
Steve.
You're on, aren't you? Yeah.
John Barkley.
John Barkley. So John's likely to be looking after the plant, I would think. I'm not sure whether it's going to be Steve. I don't know, Mark Hughes.
How's that going to be cascaded to Mark Hughes, Saj? How are we getting Mark Hughes involved in this if he's not here?
I don't know whether he's on holidays or what.
Right, can you take that away? If he can be here tomorrow at least, if not, we need to do another strikers that we haven't caught.
So yes, to get the cranes like that, they first of all they push this wagon here onto the tamper siding, and that's the last wagon that was on the train. When it's gone in there, just propel back, or unhook from the loco, propel back, put that wagon in there, go right the way across the crossovers to there. That leaves that crane and those two wagons push back there, then that crane B come back through the crossover and come there. Basically we need both cranes facing north, one on each of the slow lines. As you can see, we can't get the beams off that wagon until we've got isolation. So can't really do anything with the cranes until we've got the permit, because they've got to lift the beams off that wagon. So they push it down, but can do no more really.
That's a lot of moves to do. You know, whilst we're waiting for isolation again, if we do get possession on time, Steve, Saj, Mark and the supervisors, one of them needs to be dedicated to getting that train.
I do want to go through that in more detail,
Yeah.
positioning those when we know actually who's going to do it.
Yeah.
So both cranes onto the slow lines like that, and the 3 bugs come down from Hendon on the down slow. Now, something I was thinking about last night actually, because we keep changing the job, I don't think we want to use the dozer that's at Hendon, we'll use this one that's here on site.
Yeah.
So we'll leave the one up at Hendon. We've only got one operator, I believe, one dozer operator. The other dozer is here as a spare.
Right, that's it, because this is one, yeah.
Yeah. I think looking at the way things are now, I think it'd be best to leave the one at Hendon,
Yeah, and use this one from
or even bring both dozers here. We could have them both here.
Let's leave
On
it at
site.
Hendon. One dozer at Hendon and one here. The only thing is the operator needs to be here for the one on site.
Yeah.
Yes. You'll probably see why in a minute. So anyway, we're pretty much set up there, I think. What else we got? Oh yeah, the loco that brought the cranes in, which was here. Once the cranes have moved out, that loco then comes into the sidings and attaches onto the loaded salmon wagons. All the moves in the sidings here, we could probably do these off Cricklewood box, so we don't need to wind points and things. They're all kind of shunt moves, just do it in conjunction with the signalman in the box. There's no track circuits or anything really, so it's not going to like lock up points, mean they won't move. They're just kind of normal shunting moves that we've got to do.
The signal box is manned for Cricklewood for the first 8 hours of the possession.
And then it's not manned, is it? But
No.
we don't come into the sidings after that,
Shouldn't be
so
coming
shouldn't
in.
need it.
Right.
That's the way the cranes come in, with the engine at the front, support wagons, salmons and things. I don't think there's any point in going into the detail of that now, because I'll just do that with the person who's going to do it. So, method of taking the track out. The upslope, we're going to burn that up. We've got 2 burning teams here. We'll burn that up, trolley basically in front of the crane, and he'll just do the cuts as the crane is taking the track panels out and working backwards. They're 50-foot panels that are marked up there now, so with the small burners trolley that can stay on the very end of the track, the crane can lift over the top of it. So the crane will reach over the top, lift the panel out, back up, moving the trolley on the end. Once the panel is gone, push the trolley back 50 foot and do 2 more cuts and take it out that way. These panels from the upslope, the crane works back and puts them into the cess here. The 50-foot panels, so we're going to have to cut them again. There's a second burner on as well. You could cut them in here, and then these 2 heavy lift RRVs, pick them up, work them back into the sidings to a scrapping area alongside the sort of concrete roadway that's here. Will we have a trailer for that, Ed?
Yeah.
I think we have, yeah, we've got a trailer for that as well.
I'll go over that anyway.
Yeah, okay. One of the restrictions we've got is the cranes can only go on the viaduct one at a time, because they could end up both on the same arch at the same time. So when one crane is on the viaduct like that, that one has to wait before it can go on. As this one backs off to drop his panel, the other crane can then move down, take his panel out, and so on. So they'll just have to sort of keep leapfrogging back into the down slow line. We're going to disc cut that one all the way through because we've got to put it back in again later. So again, take it out over end with the crane, putting the panels in the 10-foot space. There are some cables in this area, so I've just got to avoid putting any panels on top of cables, but just put them to the side there. As we start, I mean, it's not going to be a huge dig now because we're only doing the crossover, but the spoil train is alongside us there, so as soon as the panels are being taken out and carried back, excavators can drop down into the hole and they can start digging into the wagons alongside us. On the viaduct, we've actually got a fairly shallow ballast depth. Under the ballast it's stone pitching, it's large, these big stones, you've probably come across them, that are kind of protecting the arches or whatever. So we've got the stone pitching at the south end, the north end, Hendon end. There's only about 7 inches of ballast, and then you're into the stone pitching. At the London end there's about 11 inches of ballast, and we mustn't disturb that, got to leave it alone. So basically we've said we won't bother dozing it because we can't achieve final depth anyway, and the dozer will just probably rip it up. He'll get his, he can't see what's happening actually on the cutting edge of the blade, so there's no point in actually dozing the formation at all. We won't use the dozer for that, but the excavators just work it so that the bucket nicely skims across the top of the stone pitching.
We're going to have a ramp, Steve, to off-track these machines.
A ramp.
Yeah, to off-track these machines to get him on dig. Where are you going to
Right
use?
from the cut end.
Do you know, it's a funny thing actually, I'm not sure about the ramp, thinking about it. At the north end, the Hendon end, the ballast ramp, I haven't seen it on the drawing. And we haven't got any ballast depth anyway, we've only got 6 inches of ballast. There should be a ramp, just can't remember how it's detailed on the drawing. I'll check that one.
Hang on. The issue, what you've just raised, is basically getting the machines into the hole.
Yeah.
Right, yes. We need to have rail protectors or something on the ends, which I've told Jason is doing,
Yeah.
Richard,
Right.
from Hendon's down with the machine.
Yeah.
Whether we need some sleepers or anything as additional, we're going to need to bring them down either from Hendon's or bring them on track. Yeah, with guys bringing them up to that point.
What about if you use, what basically usually we done, just use a small panel, about 6 meters long. And when you finish, you just pick him up, put him on a 10-foot, and after that when you must track the machines back on track, just put the panel back, put some fish bags and get the machines on to the sleepers.
It's just getting that panel back out and in the sequence of what we've got to do. To me, it'd be easier to just have a load of sleepers there, make it up, and then remove the sleepers, and we'll take them out at the end of the possession. Yeah, as long as we've got rail head
So as long as you've got at least 2 sleepers, one each side of the rails.
Yeah.
Well, leave a bit of sleeves at the end, dump it and
Yeah.
cut off.
Well, again, I leave it to Serge. We need to discuss with the supervisor and make sure he's aware and someone's allocated to do that.
When we're stacking the panels here for the bigger railers to pick up, don't really want to stack them on top of each other because it just makes it a bit difficult for the burner and so on. We have to manage that a little bit so that they're placed where the giga railers can reach them because they will be on rail. There is various bits of land sort of either side of this where we can be able to judge it on the day easier, but with the gear guys.
Go either side, man, can you?
Yes, there's a little bit of land there actually, sort of that side, the crane could put the panel easy enough and the gigas can still get at it and that side. So if they're a bit slow clearing it,
Yeah.
just need to manage it carefully. If they put them too far away, then obviously the gigas can't get hold of them.
Some key things to manage there, isn't it? There's the cutting. Because if they get carried away cutting on that first shift, you got the Kirok travelling over cuts. a couple of rails, you know, so whoever the supervisor for that, making this wrap, making sure we don't stack them away too far away, because it make our lives a lot more difficult.
What about if you can't even put fish plates on it?
You can, but it means just doing that. Yeah.
Then when the train's coming down, you're gonna have the welders.
Stood.
Fish
Exactly.
plate, and then just get the welders out and just wait for the smart.
You could, but that needs to be managed by someone. Yeah?
Have we got plenty of fish plates and set of vans?
Yeah, you've got
I've got loads in them.
Yeah, the majority of the new ones for the job will actually be on the ends of the panel on the train. But I did order about 50 extra
Yeah, with all the spares.
required. We obviously need the clamps and plates anyway. When we put these panels back in again, there'll be there's clamps and plates for those. That's just a sketch detailing the panels that are coming out. Various ways. That's actually for the gear off cranes, so there'll be less than that one. Look what panel weight you've worked out, Gaz, for the giggers.
Yeah, I've got it in the lift.
Yeah. So there we are, excavating, 3 bugs in the hole, loaded to the train. We've got 5 hours yet to do the excavation. That shouldn't be too bad. Need to mind that one. That's got 2 dozers there still, so that needs changing. When the train is loaded, that goes away to the north. When the cranes are finished taking out, crane that's on the upslope is back down to 820 A and B points and comes in behind the crane, so we end up with crane, empty salmon and another crane behind it. As you can also see there, this train of salmon's come out the side, it went into the shunt neck, propelled out onto the up goods. As soon as that crane is off the upslope and crossed over, that train can then come out onto the upslope. You see we've got the dozer there, so that'll be the dozer that's here in the sidings, because we're only going to doze the top ballast. We want it to work that way. Also the Lafarge train was down at Cricklewood, that will come in ready. While we're digging, that will come in closer to the job, ready to work. And those lads, I can't remember what time they come in. Lafarge guys, is it on the next slide? Yeah, 0900. So on there we're stoning up. The Lafarge train's got his conveyor out, putting the ballast into the track. Try and drop the majority of it in the downslope. One thing we've got to be very careful of, obviously, is don't want to fire any over the viaduct wall. We've got a main road going underneath. We have got this protective fencing on top of it, but the train can't really reach the. I don't think it'd be physically capable of throwing it over the top of the wall, but just need to watch out for any stones that might get deflected or whatever and bounce over. So we're stoning up there now. Big job that we've got to do in the way of for the track gangs and supervisors is these 2 bits of track here, the ends, because at the end of the job it's an 80mm lift and an 80mm slew towards the fast lines. We need to manually do that so that when we start relaying, the track is in the right place. Don't want to obviously put the new track in to match the existing, because that'll be in the wrong place then. So we've got to put the existing to its new level and alignment. So while we're stoning up, Gal's in there, just with the jacks, duff jacks.
No, how long is?
Oh, how long?
Yeah.
Well, we want to sort of probably do a good 30 metres, I would say. I think the extent of it is probably nearer 100 metres, the whole slew. we need to get it roughly, you know, somewhere so that once the tamper comes in, it hasn't got too much to do. So we'll do it down to where it's, let's say, 30 mil slew left or something like that. Yeah. See how it goes really as we're doing it. If it's going well, you know, we'll keep sort of doing it, do it and do a bit more. But we've got to certainly get the end here in the right place. We're not too steep a ramp for the, because obviously cranes and tamper have got to run on it. So it's got to be fit to run on.
Can you use the machine on that end, exactly where the dozer is sitting now? Can you use, say, 1 to 8 just to do the slowing?
Officially no. But you might be able
We
to
need to
assist
stick to
a
the
little
programme
bit.
and plan, you know, exactly what we plan.
Yeah.
We've got the ORR are definitely going to land on site, right? And they will shut down all our works for Christmas. They don't care about anything but safety. Yeah. So everything needs to be done by the book to the programme. Right. No shortcuts. Right. So if we plan to use men and jacks, if they've got the right equipment, needs to be there. Yeah. That is probably the most critical activity, that lifting and packing. Everything else is with machines. Yeah, the machine controllers will be obviously with their exclusion zones, that conveyor belt swinging around there. Yeah, there shouldn't be anyone in that dig, bar the dozer, the machine controllers, that's it, and the operator for Lafarge. All track men should be off track or on that bit, just lifting and packing, doing those slews.
Yeah, so we've got that lifting and packing to do on the two ends here. We also need to put the backing up point on the end of the upslope. That's where we start track lane here on the upslope. So just got the ends there in the exact position that's going to be marked this weekend, ready for track installation. What else have we got on there? Yeah, it was about this time when the giga-rails haven't really got anything to do. Scrap panels are out. We have got to put a buffer stop up on this siding number 1 here, near the limit of where the electric trains use the siding. The buffer stops are here. Just in case you go around, it's a sliding buffer stop, so it just clamps down onto the rails. So pick that up, carry that down, install that. That's it for that one. So to install the track, one of the big restrictions we've got is the Kirov cranes. When they're installing new track panels, they can only work in tandem mode, otherwise the axle weights will be too high on the viaduct.
Sorry, Steve. So just to be clear, Steve, by Christmas Day, going into the evening, the 3rd shift, all the bottom ballast should be in, whackered, ready for track lane. Yeah, that's rip out all done. So that's really yourself, Christian, and Alan.
Can I just ask another question? That buffer stop. You say you're picking it up in them sidings and taking it around. Is the signal not? That's not signal protected, is it?
No, this is
the signal.
yeah.
You see
Across
what I'm saying?
here.
We haven't got the signal in the box, so we don't.
No, we don't need it.
They're all hand.
Right.
These sidings are all kind of, this end of them is all under possession. There's timber balks across
Right.
at this point here. Basically we're replacing one of the timber balks with a buffer stop. So we do it from within what is our kind of working area, if you like.
You need to have a walk out, so
Yeah, when
you need to be clear with that.
fairly clear when you get out there. But yeah, where our wrap is, this is all out of use now anyway, and under our control. So yeah, it just has to carry the buffer stop up the existing siding. So track installation, crane A, this one here, initially has to place the panels we previously took out on the downslope, reinstall those in the same order, but just put them back in again and clamp them. That's to create a line here, so the two cranes can then work in tandem, building the the upslope. Now obviously we had excavators in here, so the 2 excavators get out once they've completed the ballasting, get back out onto the downslope at that's the north end. The dozer, again, plans changed quite a bit. I'm not sure yet really whether we bring him back out this way or get him on at the end. I think really he wants to come back out this way. He will be able to, even if the last bit of ballast he puts in will be at that end effectively. Should be able to drive out and get out at this end.
Yeah,
I think that's going to be.
we need to look salvage. That's
Yeah.
that's the second shift. End of that shift, getting that dozer out, Christian. How we're going to do it? What, you know, over the rail, protection wise, sleepers, etc.
I think those is got the protection.
Yes, not all of them is on them. We also make sure we got the valve protectors down this way.
If you bring the dozer what's got the rear protection down here, because we're
Yeah.
gonna use this one, and just keep that one far handle.
Yeah. Well, we're better off to keep, if you're going to go from this end like that, you're better off to have both dozers down this end, aren't you? Like you said before.
We'll have a chat before.
Yeah, originally when the job was
There's not much room to leave plant. We're only going to put the plant in on the morning at Hendon. There's nowhere to leave plant there really.
We're getting a car park there.
Right.
We've got to approach FCC to secure that
Yeah.
on Christmas Eve morning.
The original plan when we were doing more, we started installing trap behind the dozer so he couldn't come back out at this end.
Yeah,
The way it's looking now is that I think the crane will start putting in here. There'll be, even if the dozer's at this end, he can still come back down here and get out.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be the easiest thing for him.
He gets in there and gets out.
Yeah.
The working dozer.
Mm.
Where the other dozer spare one goes, we'll chat.
It saves getting it out on this track at this end that we don't want
We
to
just
damage.
need to make sure the way we get off the slopes onto that sidings, we've got enough gear there.
Yeah.
There were matins there, Christian, as well, so.
You've got matting, there's lots of timbers down there, isn't there? Yeah.
Is that rodding redundant, all the signal rodding?
Yes.
Is that redundant? We're going to cut that up, are we?
Yeah.
Can't do yet, not beforehand, it's still in. But at Christmas, yes, it is then redundant.
What's you going to do that then?
On completion of the dig, we'll have finished one of the bugs. We only keep 2 bugs on site. So one of them, I guess the one that's at the north end, goes back to Hendon and gets off, leaving the other 2 on site. So once we've built the downslope, the 2 cranes, or the one crane that's at north end turns around and they work then in tandem mode, getting panels off the train, take a panel off the train, put it on the salmon, pick the next one up and carry it down and install. Started with the backing up point there, building up the panels this way.
So Saj, this is your shift.
Yeah.
Went in.
Panels will all be numbered in the correct order for going in. I think the way it is actually, it's not like panel 1 we put in first because we've obviously de-scoped the job. The first panel that will go in will be the temporary panel replacing the switches. It's a wooden panel. The number of that is 5A because the original switch panel was panel number 5. But all the panels are going to be numbered on the train. It will be quite clear, and there's also, you see the next slide, there's a diagram of it.
Are we going to load them in a sequence? How they going to go in, start
Yeah.
coming back and
Yeah.
work forward?
Yeah.
So I take it the one next to the loke is the first temporary panel that we put in that we just broke back.
Pretty much. Yeah. Although it gets complicated because if it's on the top of the wagon there, it then ends up on the salmon, and then you pick the next one off and hanging on the crate. So that one needs to be the first one, so you have to do it all in reverse order. Yeah, it's a bit tricky, but hopefully we'll get it right. So there's 8 panels to put in on the upslope. Allowed half an hour a panel. So that is I'll see what that time is, something 6:15.
16.
16:15. 21:15. Yeah, 4. That's 5 hours, we've got a bit of cutting to do. So the backing up point at that end, at the north end, the last panel that comes in should have 2 sleepers missing off its north end, and the rails should overlap the existing sleepers by two beds. So lay the panel over the top, drop it down, mark it off 2 beds further up, cut the old rails and drop the complete panel length in.
So, didn't you say earlier you couldn't have 2 gear-offs on that viaduct at one time?
Not on adjacent tracks, because they could both end up on the same arch. When they're like that, they've got to be 60 foot between them, because there's a salmon between them.
Yeah, exactly.
So they can never end up
Right, yeah.
pressing down on the same arch together.
It's a good question.
Yeah.
If you do see 2 care-offs together, then you just have something in between them.
If they haven't.
Yeah, if they haven't. I think you'd be
It's going to be ballast on the
Panels on it, have you been island on circuits?
divider rebuild.
Yeah.
So that's the schedule of the panels that go in. So you can see we've got 5, A6, so on, working up. Up to 12 on the upslope, all the way to there. So having laid all the panels in on the upslope, once the last panel has been picked up off the train needs to, the last panel that's going in on the upslope that is, the train needs to propel back into the upgoods. That allows the crane, once the cranes have put that last panel in, 2 cranes and the salmon through the crossover 820s and come back onto this line, and we've got an hour basically to do this, swap the cranes and the train over onto opposite lines. So we've now got the cranes on the upslope, train with the panels on the downslope, and then they can then start. What they have to do next is take out the temporary, the old track that's in there, take that back out again now, carry that back again in tandem mode, carry it back, put it in the cess with the 2 giga railers.
Sorry to
Take
stop
out.
there, Steve. Basically, that's the end of your shift, Saj. You have to get the upslow all in, get the care-offs and train swapped.
Yeah,
No pressure, Saj.
no problem.
And then Steve and more cubes come back on.
Leave it for Steve, yeah?
Back with a wheel mix.
Steve, did you say these trains is going to do tandem lifting?
Yeah.
When it's going to pick up the panels, what is going to use? It's going to use that hydraulic beam or
Putting new panels in, it is a little bit awkward actually. If it's a 60-foot panel, both cranes will have long beam on. I think the long beam is I think the beam's 20 foot long that they use, so both cranes will have a beam on. If it's like a 40-foot panel, one crane will have a beam, the other one won't, because you can't get the 2 beams on. And if it's a 30-foot panel, neither crane will have a beam on, so they have to keep dropping their beam on and off.
if he's going to drop his beam, he's going to have his wagon attached to the crane, or when he's to push the crane back to drop the beam and come back to the work side.
The 2 cranes always stay attached to that salmon.
Right.
Yeah, they'll just work like that. One of them will have its transmission disconnected, and one of the crane will power the sort of the whole consist.
That's a good point, where we would put the beams. When
Where do we put the beams? I think they just put them on the ground in the 6 foot next to where they need to put it down or where they're going to
It
need
needs to
it.
be level because he's got that bloody beam, so it's going inside and struggling to get him out and get him in.
They're not using the hydraulic beam that they sometimes use for scrapping out with.
If you don't use the hydraulic one, how are you going to take the panels from the train then? Because you need,
We've
you're
got
going to have We're gonna have someone on train just to.
Slingers, yeah. The Kirov slingers have they hook onto the beam, or the hook or whichever, and we've got the crash mats and so on out on site.
Right. We need to have the crash mats adjacent to each slip
Yeah.
point. Right.
Yeah. I think when we've these panels now, we haven't got any burners on site, so to get rid of the scrap panels, the 2 gigger rails, we've just got to disc cut these panels now to reduce them in size for the giggers.
Yeah.
So yes, once those panels are out of the downslope, the old panels, then we start putting the new ones in. First panel that goes in is actually the one at the south end, that end. It will back up to it's got a rail that sticks out of it that links into the heel of the switches on the crossover. Where's that drawing go? That one there, that panel there, it has a rail that sticks out this side that links into, kind of butts up to the upslope panel in that area there, so that's the way those panels get positioned. Obviously there's long bearers through here, so we've got the Torrent TC operator with his gear, and all of the splice plates will be strapped to the sleepers. I think they're coming on the up line, we said. So they'll be all there ready. There might be a bag of bolts somewhere separate that we'll have to find that comes with the layout. Just depends where we put it when it arrives at the weekend.
Is there no way of putting them in a crate and strapping it?
Well, there probably will be a big crate in actual fact. I mean, there's no point end equipment to come because that should all be fitted. There shouldn't be any pan drills. So quite often you get a great big crate with all bits and pieces. There actually won't be very much. Might be a pallet.
We'll have a look now.
Yeah, when it comes at the weekend or Thursday, Friday, we can weigh up the best way to deal with that. Either just take it down, put it close to the site.
What assistance will there be for the operator to get the machine up to site?
There's obviously going to be men on site. We'll put that on at the wrap that's down there, and he can roll it down the siding.
And then just lift it across.
It's very close to the job, just lift it across onto the main line.
So where's it going to come on at? Handon?
No, our wrap here.
Right,
on site.
right.
It's going to come on at the ramp.
Yeah, just off the siding here.
It's getting off the end of the siding onto the upper slide.
Yeah.
So I think he's booked it on there 02 to 12, I think.
Yep.
TC operator. He needs an induction, doesn't he? I think.
He's on the list for Thursday.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Neil's coming to see us Thursday.
Okay, right.
So I think it'd be nice to have Bristol doing the job.
White 2 sugars.
Sorry?
White 2 sugars.
Okay, so really getting all the tracking and the relaying complete.
So by 6:15 all the track's done,
6:15.
everything's connected up.
Yeah.
That's Boxing morning.
So top ballasting.
It's your shift, see?
Got the have you seen the fire strain? Have you used it?
No, not the
No?
large strain.
Okay. Got a picture of it by my desk. So if you haven't seen it before, the train's got a wagon with a conveyor belt that swings out at either end.
Yeah.
It's got to come with 2 conveyors on it. We probably may well only use one. The other one is there really as a spare.
Yeah.
There are 2 operators with it. There's one guy who stands by the chute, and one The other guy works his way along the wagons and basically he has to pull a lever on each wagon, opens the doors, drops the stone onto the conveyor, and it comes down. They generally use hand signals between the two of those operators because of the noise of the train.
Right.
They can't hear each other.
So they've not got back-to-back radios or anything?
No, don't work.
That comes.
They can't hear because he's stood next to the noise of the stone dropping on the conveyor. They don't need many hand signals. It's basically stop or go. He's just open it or close it. In fact, the guy on the ground, he really only needs to be told to stop once he's started letting the stone drop onto the conveyor. You know.
Any time that train is operating by the Lafarge people, there shouldn't be anyone around. No trackmen. Should be only the operatives.
Well, I was going to ask, do the machines have to stand down while he's discharging? Because then you've got crane controllers.
Well, you've got the deuces coming in.
The way it works, I mean, it's when we do bottom ballast. The way it works is that the train shoots a bit of a pile out. There's usually a machine there pulling it out.
Exactly, yeah.
So no, you can't really say
No.
they stop work. It's not a dangerous operation when you see it happening.
No, I'm just getting straight so we
Everybody
know that
just
they
stand back in
can
a sensible position.
carry on, yeah.
Profiling that through with the deuces or with the bugs?
Sorry?
Trying to profile that through with the deuces or the bugs?
With this, we were going to do it with the bugs. They were standing here on the downslow ready. When we're top ballasting, the intention is to drop some of the ballast into the downslow. We're not going to fill it up because the slight problem with the Lafarge train is that once the stone starts coming off the conveyor, you can't stop it quickly because what's on the conveyor, what's dropped onto the conveyor out of the hoppers, kind of has to come. So even if they say stop, it might continue running for another 30 seconds or even a minute. So you can get a bit of a build-up that you don't want.
Right, just for everyone, just to be clear, this when it discharges the stone, on the down slow, Steve, it's going to discharge in the forefoot.
Yeah.
And then it's going to stockpile for the up slow in the wide way there.
Yeah,
correct?
The wide way.
So at that point, all the machines, yes, they should be stood away from the job. They should be stood north of that crossover to allow him to do the extent of that job. Yeah. And then once he shuts down, puts his conveyor back, there should be enough stone, and that's to be liaised with the supervisor on the day, which should be, morning. Alan's on. He's going to make sure that happens, alright? Machine operators as well. They can come back in then and then use a stockpile of ballast in the wide way to fill up slow.
So before when it's been stockpiling, we've had to be pulling that way over machines. It's quite a low belt discharge on them, isn't it?
No, it's high on this one.
Oh, you've got the high
It
belt
was off the top.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
They got two sort of, one of them does a low slant and the other
There's
does
a
not.
few versions,
Yeah.
a few different types of train about. Yeah, this one's is quite high. I mean, the way they often work is the train, as he starts putting it into the 10 foot, as long as the train driver's got a radio, you can then start telling the train to just start creeping forward at a very, about slowest it can go, slow walking pace, and then he just puts a nice, pile along the 10 foot for you. Nothing difficult about it really, but if you haven't seen it being done, it's
As when we're going to have loads of people who's going to take photos.
Cameras, video.
yeah. Because if we've got the track in and we're putting it in the forefoot, we don't want to try and fill it up because, like I say, if the train does stop for some reason, sometimes the driver stops or whatever, you just get a big pile that you've then got to get out. You know a little bit more after we put bottom ballast in. Yeah, you can see how it works. Yeah. So the main way of doing it into the 10 foot and then the bugs lift it, spread it across into the upslope. At this point, 0800 the tampers get manned up. They're in the siding there and they come out ready to work. And we'll then also have S&T and OLE on site, and they'll be doing their bit connecting up.
They're going to let mutes out, aren't they, Steve?
Sorry?
They're going to let mutes out, aren't
OLE haven't got any mutes. They will have mutes here, but the OLE have actually got no adjustments to do to the overheads. The mutes are here on standby in case we go and hit the wires and they need to do any work. But they don't actually have any planned work to do. They've obviously got to put bonds on to, structure to rail bonds, but there's no work to actually do to the overhead catenary. So tamping wise, I've got 2 tampers and it's going to be 1 tamper on each line. We'll parallel tamp it. I should have mentioned here as well on this one, so that once the cranes have finished installing the track, they gather all their wagons together, make themselves up back into a train same way as they came in. That all gets marshalled behind the salmons. This is the engine with the empty salmons now, there's only 2 shown there. You can fit it all on, but that's the train that has come in. That obviously needs to happen so that this tamper, or the 2 tampers, the second tamper can come through this crossover and get down to site. So we need to be pretty sharp on getting that train put back together and out of the way. Once it's back together, it just sits there and waits to follow the tampers out when they've finished. So, say on that side, the 2 tampers are working.
Sorry, so that is a critical time-wise, Christian. Yeah. With you and Alan and Phil to get that done, because these tampers were borrowed and steel to bring them forward in the programme. They were due to not come till 12 o'clock. And now we're delaying some other people, maintainers' works. When they finish at 12 o'clock, they go out on the down slow, Steve will come on in a minute, to straight on at Hendon for shift changeover, and then on to maintainers' works. Okay, if we delay that, we will overrun their works. Those tampers going out.
And when you got these tampers, I don't know the weight difference between these and the Kiros. But well, they're going to be allowed to work next to each other, or?
Yeah,
they will.
Yeah, no problem, yeah.
And where they're going to be stabled up, we can get them out, their manual points, we can get them across to where we need to go.
Where they're stabled here,
Yeah.
these points, these crossovers here, this access onto the 2 goods lines here are controlled from West Hampstead box. It's only when you come in here, this set of points, you then come into the depot and under the control of Cricklewood box.
Yeah, again, because I was saying we didn't have a signal.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I mean, normally, obviously this is an A and B end, so these are in the normal position most of the time.
Yeah.
So the tampers aren't actually kind of trapped in by any points when they're in normal position. Crane's obviously got to get that wagon that's behind the tampers. So as that crane, that's what I say, that train's got to get itself formed up fairly quick.
Yeah.
Get these wagons out of the way to let the tampers come onto site. Obviously, we'll be doing that while we're stoning up. It's like once all the track's in, start putting the cranes to bed. So we tamp that. On completion of the tamping, this tamper has to come down through 820s, come back behind this one, and then couple together, ready to go out north. The bugs that are on the down slow probably will bring it through the crossover to get them out of the way. And the other way is up to Hendon and get off at the wrap, but there's no reason why we can't just move them across through the crossover like that. Wanted to keep them on site, there might still be a little bit of ballast to move about. We're going to put a fair bit in the 10 foot, so if there's any ballast required after tamping, we're actually keeping the large train on site as well. So if there's been a big lift, we've got the ballast to make good. So let's go back one. Sorry. When the tampers go out, that train that was here, the crane and the empty salmons, 2 tampers go out together and that train follows them across the site, get that out of the way. Lafarge train is is actually finished with at about 1400 or something. Well, that must be before that anyway. That's due at, that one goes out on the upfast, goes north, is due at the possession departure point 1430.
What time have we got welders coming on? Or have we got?
There should be for the day. 1700 they've got them.
Yeah, so top up the ballast,
Two teams, yeah.
top up the ballast. The Lafarge train sits on site. We'll probably just move it north of the site to Hendon because that's not due out until 2000. So as soon as we've got the ballasting work finished, 12:30 key point. Let the S&T get on and start their testing. Their plan is actually to do the upslope first. See there, 12:30 to 14:30, then 14:30 to 15:30 on the downslope, and then they want it wheels free, all lines 15:30 to 16:15. Does give us the opportunity. We've got 2 welding teams booked on. There's actually no essential welds to do, but if we've got any wide gaps, we'll do those. They should have insulated trolleys, so they shouldn't affect the S&T testing, but obviously need to work in liaison with the S&T, make sure there's no conflicts there. There are 2 welds in the crossover in the check behind the check rails that can't put the check rails on with clamp joints. Yeah. So they'd be quite good to do if we can, and then get the check rails put on and finished with. Need to be careful if we do take an RLB through the crossover and there's no check rail on. You know, it doesn't derail on the crossing. Yeah, got to be very careful with that one. So wheels free testing is due to finish 16:15.
So you need to check those welding times. On here it's got 17, but on the program it's from 12 till 16.
Steve, when are you going to do that weld on a crossing? What is that check level? Did the welders going to bring, I don't know, an angle grinder or something like this, going to grind the check level?
Drive a chunk out of the check rail. Actually, they could do it today, couldn't they?
Sometimes the manufacturers have a cut out, so I don't know whether
Yeah,
they've done that.
they're
or
up
not.
at Chorus now, aren't they?
Speak to Alan?
Yeah,
No, give him
I don't know whether Richard mentioned it to them yesterday, actually.
just give them a call over. We're nearly done.
Yeah.
Have a quick 5-10 minute break.
So, yeah, while testing's going on, obviously we'll get the fencing down, clearing the site and so on. Clip and scotch the points. We've got the clips and scotches here. Padlocks we should
We'll sort that, yeah.
have been ordered, yeah. After the incident at 3 Bridges, need to make sure the TSR boards are all still up after the Christmas period and such like, and in the correct position. So isolation is due back at 17:15.
So is this Boxing Day night then we're in now?
Yeah.
This is Boxing Day night.
Yeah.
So by really the afternoon, yeah, by 1800 we should have finished everything. All form seats back, should have cleared, got all the fencing down on the viaduct, tied it up, boxed in, checked the points, you know, thrown them over with the signaller. S&T would have done that, and off track. Again, it's critical we hit that milestone. Balfour Beatty coming on in the evening are doing section proving where they're live on all overheads for other works north and south of us.
Belly plates and G-clamps, just in case.
Yeah, got some.
So you want lighting on Boxing Night then?
We're going
Would it be
because the lighting is attached to the debris netting.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. What time's your shift time at the moment?
I can move that around.
Yeah. Needs to be in line with the fencing when it comes down on the programme.
Which is 13:15 to 14:45.
On there, yeah.
Or we may have to delay until we start packing up the site and pushing out.
It's the last thing, you can even put it on the ground.
Yeah.
Just lay it on the ground.
Yeah. Just lay the heads on the ground,
Yeah.
so you've still got some light showing.
Exactly, yeah.
Trouble with the formation there is that cess is about, what, 18 inches?
Well, the
below.
brackets on the wall will be still up. I'm not sure if we can hook them onto the brackets. We'll have a look at that.
Or if you bring the poles, why is it going to be the strip light?
It's link light, but it's special ones with hoops. We're not using masts and baskets.
Right, okay. If we could have had masks with
You
them,
get
we could
masks
slide
with
them into the brackets afterwards when we
Yeah.
get the time. So.
Will the brackets still be on the wall?
Yeah.
I think those hoops probably hook into those.
Yeah.
Needs to have a look at it.
We need to have a look at that.
Yeah.
Different sizes as well, that's the problem.
Go on, have you too?